Well, hello furries and other internet creatures. Today I will be showing you a mod that I've been working on for the past week or so that should hopefully make it a lot easier to analyze redstone lag. Now, if you saw the thumbnail, then you've probably already noticed, well, the most exciting feature, which is that it can create a heat map of the lag. But that's just one of the many nice things about this mod. You see, the main point of this mod is really just to make it a lot easier to perform lag tests. You see, the biggest problem with performing lag tests is that you generally have to create several copies of your contraption in an isolated area to get accurate results. But with Redfile, let's just go from there over to there. Yeah, unfortunately there's currently no indication that you started it other than the game speeds up, because it does automatically go into tick warp so that it finishes faster, and as you can see, yeah, it was able to accurately measure the lag of this small observer chain. It's just 18 microseconds per tick. Now, you might not be very used to seeing the term microseconds being used in lag. Normally we measure things in milliseconds per tick because, well, if you reach 50 milliseconds per tick, the game can no longer run at 20 ticks per second because, well, that's literally a 20th of a second. But, well, unfortunately, the main reason that we normally measure in milliseconds is simply because, well, that's the most accurate that most tools get. But meanwhile, Redfile is kind of the opposite. You'll often be working in either microseconds, or possibly even nanoseconds, or just micros and nanos for short. Now, you might be rightfully concerned about the accuracy of this tool, because while computers do quite often measure things in nanoseconds, it turns out they're actually really bad at measuring nanoseconds. So, how can we be so certain that, yeah, this 32 nanoseconds really is 32 nanoseconds? Or 57, or whatever these numbers are. Well, the short version is, oh yeah, not on the normal skin today because I'm in a testing environment. And anyways, yeah, so the short version is simply, it does a lot of math and statistics and stuff like that so that it can cheat and not have to really do any sort of accurate timing. However, as a downside, the numbers aren't always the most accurate. Like, here, I mean, here we're seeing, this is 82 nanoseconds, and this is 24. I'm pretty sure, yeah, that's probably not right. But, I mean, it's a difference of, like, 60 nanos. That's barely anything. Oh, while we're on this, I guess, yeah, so the heat map here, it goes by color. Sorry to anyone who's colorblind. I just haven't made it colorblind friendly yet. But anyways, so blue is around 10 nanoseconds, or anything below that. Cyan is about 100. Green, 1 micro. Yellow is around 10 micros. Red, not really on here, but that's 100 micros, and then if you somehow manage to get all the way up to a whole millisecond or higher, it goes to magenta. So I guess in short, it's logarithmic, and each of the major colors is exactly 1 power of 10. However, there is one other main reason that you might be a bit skeptical about the accuracy of this thing, and that is how quickly it will disagree with common knowledge. I mean, I call it common knowledge because a lot of people know it. It's just not, true. For example, everyone knows that rails are more efficient than redstone dust, and if you didn't know that, that's fine, because what little truth it has is not very useful. As you can see here, well, clearly, yeah, the redstone dust is definitely worse than the rails. So, what's going on? Here, we're going to do that, and that is called trickle prevention. Well, if we run this again, just a nice quick short run, you'll notice that, yeah, the rails aren't looking a lot better than the dust here. In fact, they're looking pretty much the same. At least within, like, a factor of 2 at most. Probably not what you expected. Well, my dear viewer, this is actually why I made the tool in the first place. For a video that should hopefully finally come out soon, talking specifically about Rails and redstone dust, I'll probably be using this tool quite a bit. While we're waiting for the thing to generate, here's a little detail. If you stand inside of the box while it's running, yeah, it tracks that, so be careful about that. Anyways, the other way that it disagrees with, commonly perceived things is hoppers. As you can see, these hoppers are very low, most of them hitting under 1 microsecond. Meanwhile, of course, these rails are hitting, like 5 microseconds. And then, of course, hopper minecarts also hit around 5 microseconds, though you may have noticed that hopper minecart is hitting a lot. That hopper is hitting a lot. What's going on there? Here's the thing. It turns out, from what I can tell, that is not actually any sort of measurement error. That is something actually going on. Those are the very first hopper and the very first hopper minecart to be processed on the tick. Which means they take slightly longer than the others because, well, code is weird, and once you start measuring things at the microsecond level, weird things like this happen. So you have to be careful with that. That said, it's still pretty good at giving you a general idea as to what's going on. Meanwhile, a lot of people tend to think that observers might be some source of lag, but so in this case, these two observers, they're being the first on the tick, so of course they end up taking a bit of extra, and this one's just receiving a lot of updates because it's next to Rails, which spit out a very unnecessary number of block updates, contrary to popular belief. So here it's hitting an entire 2.3 microseconds. Normally these things can't even reach 1 microsecond on their own. Meanwhile, pistons, a lot of people probably think they're, like, maybe not the worst things. It's very easy for them to turn orange. Anyways, if you do want to try this mod out for yourself, I'm gonna probably release a kind of preview version. It's not very well polished. There's still a few problems. Hopefully accuracy isn't one of them. As far as I can tell, the timings are very accurate. I just flew right through the box. Oops. Sorry, I just find it so amusing that that happens. Anyways, so if you're going to use it, here I've not made it just a cross section, and you'll notice that it is very difficult to tell what's going on. So there's a few extra things that you can do. Hopefully there will be more things eventually. You may have noticed I've been clicking on stuff to see these stats. If you just right-click them, then it'll add them together on the right, and if you shift right-click, then it will reset that sum. And then to get to the further in parts, if you left-click on any of these, then any of the spots that are that or lighter will just kind of vanish momentarily. Momentarily meaning that if you shift left-click, they'll come back. Of course, if you accidentally, were to accidentally click on all of them, then you might think you're out of luck. Fortunately, yeah, you just run red file untrim, and that will also restore it. I could have sworn there were other things to keep in mind, but I don't know. But anyways, yeah, if you're interested in this mod, then yeah, I'm gonna have an alpha version available on my GitHub probably around the time I upload this video. And so yeah, mess around with it. I mean, that's the best way to learn redstone, so it should be the best way to learn redstone lag, right? Unfortunately, normally that does not go well for a lot of people because, well, it's very easy to get wrong information. Well, this thing gives you so much information, there's no way any of it can be wrong, right? That is, like, the worst pitch I've ever made. Anyways, no, but like it gives you a lot of information, so it's a lot harder to miss things. Like accidentally think that rails are really efficient when they're not. Anyways, who was wondering how much lag copper causes? How much lag does copper cause? Because it does receive random ticks. I'm standing on it, but it's fine. Yeah, okay, around 600 nanoseconds. I mean, there's exactly 1,000 of these copper blocks here, so each one of those is causing zero point 0.6 nanoseconds per tick. Sorry, that still cracks me up. Oh, right. I'm a little bit disorganized in this in case it wasn't obvious, but anyways, so yeah, you see how it's just tracking everything by position? That is a feature that should hopefully be coming soon is, well, tracking it by instance, so holding on to specific entities, and if you move blocks around, then it will actually kind of move the tracker with that block, so to speak. That should be happening at some point, I just haven't implemented it yet. Along with just like a few other nice things. I think that's all for today. And yeah, you didn't really think I wasn't going to mention this. Trans rights are human rights.